Today I will teach you how to achieve confidence, happiness, mental health, and self-love, even if you are an ugly, unattractive, awkward, and disgusting spurg. So the reason why I want to teach you all this is because I used to be really insecure about myself. Like when I was in middle school, I thought I was like the worst. I fucking hated myself. I was this awkward, autistic kid in the corner that was like eating alone during lunchtime in school and had like no close friends at all. And I constantly viewed myself as a loser. I viewed myself as an idiot, as like the worst. But then, one day when I started receiving attention from pretty girls, all of a sudden I convinced myself that I was attractive, that girls loved me, and then I started loving myself. I went from like absolutely hating myself to absolutely loving myself and thinking I was the best. And then you kind of know the story if you know me, that a girl that I had a crush on then rejected me, and I was like, how can she reject me? I am so attractive. And then other girls would reject me and I would be confused. I was like, how can they reject the attractive guy? And then I started a YouTube channel and I received a lot of hate comments and I received criticism that I am not attractive. And possibly the girls that were giving me attention in high school were just being nice to me, and in reality I'm just an awkward, autistic spurg. And that's when I once again started hating myself. And I did not just hate myself, I loathed myself. I hated myself so much that I not only thought that I deserved, like, I have to warn you that this is pretty dark. Like, I not only thought that I deserved to die, I thought that I deserved to like die the most painful and gruesome and brutal death imaginable. I hated myself so much that I thought I deserved to be fucking tortured to death. Like, I viewed myself in the same realm where most people view like murderers and PDF files and rapists. Can I even say that word on YouTube? Like, I saw myself as a fucking monster because I was so, like, I could not accept that I was unattractive and that I was stupid enough to think that I was attractive. And because of all of that, I thought that I deserved to be fucking tortured to death. And so the only times when I like genuinely loved myself was whenever I thought I was attractive. And so when eventually that like image of myself that I had built up became shattered and I realized that I'm just a spurg, then I fucking hated myself. And so in that situation, I tried to watch other autistic content creators so that perhaps I would be inspired by other like autistic content creators, and so that I could learn to love myself from them. But it did not work because I found all of them cringe. Like, there was this specific content creator, his name is Orion Kelly. He's like very big, he's very famous. When it comes to like content creators that are open about their autism. He's like one of the most popular autistic content creators. But like, I could barely watch like 2 or 3 videos of his and then I had to call it quits because he was so fucking cringe. Like, he kept making those like uncanny facial expressions all the time, and he was speaking in like this thick Australian accent that was amplified due to his autism. And so basically the way he spoke was, if you are autistic, you might do this, and you might do this. And I was like, bro, who cares? You're cringe. And the craziest part is that this cringe lord, he managed to... He was married and he had children. So I was like, how did this Spurg manage to attract a woman? And how did he manage to procreate with a woman? Like, how? And then I asked myself, wait a second, I have to take a look at his wife. I have to see how attractive this wife is. And so I looked at like a video where he featured his wife and I knew it. I knew it. That explains everything. And so the point is that like his content is actually good. Like he has some really interesting things to say. But none of that mattered to me because he was cringe and his wife was mid. And so then I realized that apparently that was how I was like. That I was not this like attractive Casanova that I thought I was in high school. I am apparently like Orion Kelly. I make fucking uncanny facial expressions all the time. I am fucking cringe. I have a thick accent when I speak, and my future wife will be mid. And so I couldn't accept myself. I was like, yeah, I might have some strengths. I might be smart. I might be funny. I might be kind. But none of that matters because I'm unattractive and cringe. I only love myself. I only accept myself when I am attractive. And so if I am not attractive, then I cannot accept myself. And so when you are hearing this, you might think that I am some shallow asshole that judges people on like how attractive and cringe they are. But the thing is, if you are insecure about your autism, then chances are that you are a shallow asshole yourself. And so the reason why we judge ourselves so harshly is because we judge others so harshly. Like I said, I judged this Orion Kelly that hard. I was like, he's so fucking cringe. And because of that, when I later found out that, shocker, I am just as cringe as him, I fucking hated myself. I thought that I deserved to die and all that. And so this is why I want to teach like how you can solve this problem. Because what if you cannot become attractive? What if for the rest of your life you will be that? It doesn't matter how much you work on yourself. You will always forever be that like cringe autistic guy. How do you learn to love yourself? So it is true that your worth does not have to be based on specific things, like for example how attractive you are. You are insecure, you feel like you are worthless because you judge your own self-worth. You base your own self-worth on how attractive you are. And if you are unattractive and you base your self-worth off of that, then yeah, you are worthless. But if you instead base your self-worth on the things you might be good at, for example, your intelligence, because maybe your intelligence is really high, then you feel like you have a lot of value and a lot of worth deep down here. And so it is really how we base and judge our worth, on what like factors we judge our worth on, that determines like if we love ourselves or not. So if we base our worth on the things we are good at, then we will love ourselves. But if we instead base our worth on the things we are not so good at, then we will hate ourselves. Now, this is easier said than done, because when you find the things that you are good at, you will still gonna be like, it doesn't matter because I'm unattractive, so I'm a loser by default. Like, you will always obsess over the things you are bad at. It doesn't matter how many things you are good at. And this is actually an evolutionary like mechanism. Like, imagine our ancestors when they were on a boat and they had to pull ropes, and like There were like 10 ropes, and 9 of them were normal ropes, and one of them was a venomous snake. Do you think that their chances of survival would increase if they focused on the normal ropes, or if they instead focused on the venomous snakes and the venomous snake and they try to get rid of the venomous snake? Of course, they had to obsess and take care of the venomous snake. So they could not focus on the normal ropes, they had to focus on the threat. So we focus on the bad things about ourselves, because it's like our ancestral caveman brain, where we like don't want to be kicked out of the tribe, so we want to be good enough. And so the things we are already good at, we don't think about them because we don't have to work on them anymore. We only have to work on the things we are still not good at, so that we can improve in those things as well, so that we can finally be good enough. And so that is why we obsess over the things we are not good at. And that is why we are like, yeah, I am smart and that, but it doesn't matter because I'm unattractive, so I'm a fucking loser that deserves to die. And so what worked for me personally was working with other autistic people. Not just like hanging with autistic people, not just watching content of autistic people like Orion Kelly. No, actually being forced to spend time with autistic people. And working with autistic people was the perfect way for me to be forced to spend time with autistic people. Because yeah, usually when like an autistic person goes to you and is like, hey, I shat my pants 3 years ago, you would be like, you would just get the fuck out of there and be like, holy Jesus Christ, what a fucking spurg. But when you work with them, you're like employed, you cannot just run away because you will get fired, and you don't want to get fired, you want to keep getting your paycheck. And so when someone is like, hey, I shat my pants 3 years ago, you are forced to be there and be like, yes, you indeed did, you shit your pants 3 years ago, I'm so proud of you. And you are forced to spend time with them. And when you spend time with them, you will inevitably realize like their positive qualities. Like, I remember there was this like autistic person that I was working with. He was like really knowledgeable on how submarines worked. So if I ever in the future want to build a submarine, I will fucking hire him. And there was this other autistic guy that taught me what BFDI is, and now my younger sister is fucking obsessed with that shit. And so I learned that, yeah, those autistic people may be cringe and awkward, but they are like so knowledgeable on certain areas, and I can like really get value of them if I, for example, want to build a submarine in the future. So they have some like really good qualities to them. And then I learned that I have to force myself to view myself the same way I was forced to view them. And so I was like, yeah, I might be cringe and awkward, but I'm like really knowledgeable on some aspects and on some like topics. I remember explaining to a girl like a few months ago on like how gladiators work, and I felt so charismatic. I felt so masculine when I was explaining to this girl how gladiators work. Like, if the emperor made a thumbs up like that, it meant spare the life of the loser, and if he did thumbs down, it meant finish him. And like, I had this knowledge, and when I was explaining that to that girl, I felt like Oppenheimer when he was explaining quantum physics to a girl that he later smashed. And so I felt so powerful when I was explaining gladiators to this girl. And so I learned how to be able to view like the good qualities within me, and being able to accept myself and find like self-love and charisma in that, despite my weaknesses, for example being awkward and cringe. And so even with Orion Kelly, like yes, he makes uncanny facial expressions all the time, but he is still like really interesting to listen to if you can look past like his awkward facial expressions and his Australian accent. And like he is relatable at times. Like I can relate to him as an autistic at times, not all the time, but sometimes I can. And so he is like really interesting to listen to, and so he's not that bad after all. And his wife, yeah, she's mid, but she probably also has good qualities to her. I mean, if he is married to her, he had to see something in her, so she has to have some good qualities in her. And so this is why I created a community, like a course. I created a course which you can find in the description, where if you join as an autistic person, I will force you to deal with me, a huge mega spurg. And I will also force you to deal with other autistic people that might join that course as well, and we will build an autistic community. And so that can be a solution. Or you can do the same thing as I did and work and be like employed with paychecks and stuff and work with other autistic people. So then you will be forced to spend time with autistic people and be held accountable so that you don't get fired. And so basically, to make this, to summarize, you have to force yourself, you have to find a way to basically force yourself, to be forced basically to spend time with other autistic people.